Hey everyone, welcome. My name is Marilyn Shannon, and this is Breaking Free. And I am really delighted to be here with all of you today. We're going to have a great show, lots of things in store, and here we go. I say hello to Amnon.
Welcome back.
Well, thank you very
We
much.
missed you.
I miss being here.
Oh,
I miss being here. It's good to be back.
I'm sure it is.
It is good to be back. A little vacation never hurt anybody.
Did you have fun?
Yeah, let me think
Ah,
what I did. I don't
good.
even remember what I did. Oh,
That's fun.
one was Memorial Weekend, right? And
Right.
one was I went up to New Jersey, I think, for a family function. And it's everything has been great. Glad to be
Good.
back and raring to go. And I hope you all having a good summer so far, and you're feeling good and raring to go with me. So here we go. Please, 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 please remember, you are more than welcome to sign into our chat anytime you want. All you have to do is put your name on the line, and there you are. And we're ready, and you can take part in the questions and comments and all that kind of stuff. So, also, you can call in to 919-518-9773. And you can also connect with us on Skype at Computers 2K Voice. Right?
Right.
All right. So, this is how. So, what have you been up to? Anything exciting happening for you?
No, just things.
Same old, same old?
Same old is good.
Same old is good.
Yeah.
Very good. Excellent, right?
Yeah.
Can't complain
Don't
about the
need
same
too
old.
much excitement.
Anything new? Anything?
Mm, no.
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 Can I just tell a little story? So I want to tell you, I have a grandson. He's 3.5. So my daughter yesterday, she calls me laughing, laughing, laughing. I said, "What's going on?" She said, "Landon. They're sitting having breakfast. He's 3.5 with his father." And she looks at them and she says, "Oh, my two boys." And Landon turns around and goes, "Oh, happiness." And he's 3.5. He cracks me up. He cracks me up. So I've got lots of things in store to talk to you all about today. So the first thing I'm going to do is, you put up the first PowerPoint slide.
I am looking at the picture.
Uh-huh. I'm wearing blue.
Look at the straps.
I know, I'm wearing blue. So I forgot, I didn't even think about it. Oh my God, this is it. I'm wearing blue again.
All right.
Okay, so bear with me, everybody, because I'm wearing blue.
You can keep talking.
Okay, so you put up the, okay, and then,
Keep talking.
okay, I'm going to keep talking. So listen, I'm wearing blue. And what happens when you wear blue is you only see my head and everything else is the background. So Amnon is going to perform a miracle because he's going to do something with the background so that I don't look like a head on top of a room. Oh my goodness, a blue background. Okay. This happens from time to time. I get a little confused and oh my God, I do this silly thing and I'm so excited to be here and then anyway. So speak your mind. This is a license. Today's show and every show is an opportunity for you, for me, for everyone out there to connect with each other. And I mean that sincerely. Whatever you have on your mind, please use this as a forum to connect, ask questions. It could be something going on in your life, something good, something not so good. Maybe you want a little advice. Maybe you want to run something by us, me. Maybe you have a suggestion for something. Please feel free to use this as an opportunity. So this license entitles you to say what you think without fear of judgment or criticism. Open yourself up and the world will open up with you. This show is called Breaking Free. What does that mean? That means that you get to say whatever you like. Hopefully, and I'm sure you will, say it in the best of intentions. So for now, just make sure you connect anytime you like, and we'll go from there. Okay? Right? You fixed me? Oh gosh, I can wear blue again? I love blue. And I forget that I can't wear it, but here I am. Okay. Right? So let's go. Next slide. Oh, is there something here that I need to look at? Is there anything on that chat? I don't know. Okay. Let's go to the next slide. So remember, anything you want, you can share with me. And the next slide, if there's a book that you want to read, but it hasn't been written yet, then you must write it. And this is how I feel. So I'm going to be writing some books. And I would highly recommend that if you have something that you want to say and you want the world to know, everybody gets connected and inspired by something different. If you have words that are at the tip of your tongue If you have an idea, if you have a story, a personal story that you want to share with the world, because we learn, we connect, we grow bigger and better, and we break free because of each other's stories. Share it, write it. They don't have to be very big. Remember, some of the stories, some of the books that are out there on Amazon, ebooks, they're not very big at all. Actually, many of them are really not that big. They might be 30, 40, 50 pages. Share your story. So I want to hear from you as well. And my book is about conflict and making peace. So if you have a story that is about conflict with a loved one, a friend, a colleague, coworker, a sister, a brother, whoever it is, you've had some conflict and you either have worked it out or you haven't, and you're working on wanting to make peace or you don't, I would love to hear from you. Please write me at MarilynShannon.com, and we can talk about it, okay? Next thing is, this is another opportunity. So I'm going to get out all these opportunities. If you have a piece of art, you're creative, you do something, you have a business that I would love to help promote for you, let me know. Marilyn at MarilynShannon.com, because I have a page on my website for Marilyn's Favorite Things, and I want to hear from you. If you're painting, you're doing jewelry, you have something great. Right now I have some clothing on there that I love, and I'm happy to share it. So go to my website at Marilyn's Favorite Things and look at this line of clothing. It's women's clothing, and it's great. It's not expensive, and it's fun, and you can roll it up in a ball. And if you have something that you want the world to know about, then please feel free to let me know, and I will help promote it with you, for you, and together. All right? So let's go from there, okay? Next slide. So one of the things, we're going to talk about 3 specific things today. We're going to talk about observing, we're going to talk about judgment, and we're going to talk about how we make decisions. So I think these are 3 really important things that have been popping up around me in the last several days. And I feel like it's stuff we should talk about, that we all can learn from each other about these particular areas. So about observing. So I put up this quote: "Nothing exists until or unless it is observed. An artist is making something exist by observing it. And his hope for other people is that they will also make it exist by observing it. I call it creative observation, creative viewing." So it's kind of like a quantum thing. When you observe it, it's observed into being. And so we want to pay attention to all the things, as many of the things around us as we possibly can absorb. And so we don't want to go like frantically through life, but we want to take our time and we want to see what's going on around us. We want to visualize, see what's happening with people, and we connect that way. We learn about the world around us, and I got to tell you that I think if we observe things more and more and we see how people act more and more, we're going to be less judgmental. We're going to see people and how they are, what they do, how they live, and I think it's really important, and we get to express ourselves creatively from what we observe that's not speaking to us in words, but in form, in color, in shape, in energy. So we want to create as much awareness around us as we can. And the way we do that is by obviously tuning in, by slowing down, by taking it in, by appreciating nature, by appreciating the little things that our children do, our big children do. It's really important. So I want to, anybody have any comments to share about that, please feel free to give me a call, 919-518-9773, or remember, Computers 2K Voice, and you can chat with us in the little chat window here, and there is a bunch of things going on there. So again, observing. It's really important. If you want to be part of this world and not complain about it, observe it. There's a lot of messages that we can uncover, discover, recover when we observe. So let's go to the next slide. Observing humans and observing oneself yields a clear-minded starting point for literature. I think that was just beautiful. There's so much, it's almost like reality is, what's the quote about reality is stranger than fiction? There's so much creativity all around us. And when we observe ourselves, it's so interesting. And when we observe other human beings and how they interact, the stories and is just magnificent. I mean, just watching my little grandson, I started the show today by sharing some stories about him. So the other day, I was with my daughter and my grandson, and we were going out for lunch, and he wanted to go in the car with me. So I said, okay, and we were going to meet my daughter at the restaurant. There was no place to park. I do not like going into parking garages. I don't like them. I mean, I get really, like, confused where my car is. I get lost easily. So I had no choice. I had to park in a parking garage, and I went in, and we were on the 3rd floor, and then I needed to find the exit. Had a hard time finding the exits because I didn't know which side of the building I was on, where the restaurant was. It's a whole thing. So I said to my grandson, come on, we're going on an adventure. We had to get out of the building. He looks at me and he says, Grandma Madeline, Mickey Mouse goes on adventures too. And I started to laugh, and I thought, cool, we're going on an adventure like Mickey Mouse. And he thought it was the greatest thing. And for a few minutes, I was like, I was in a fairy tale. And I was living this adventure with him, and we were like, okay, where's the the exit? And we found the exit. We didn't know where it was going to take us. And he was beaming. And my daughter called while we were trying to make our way out of the building, and she said, Mom, where are you? I said, I'm on an adventure. I'm trying to get out of this building. And she laughed, I laughed, he laughed. He got out of the building and he saw my daughter, and he was beaming. And you know what? The adventure took me away from being in this garage. I mean, it made everything so different. It was so cool. And then, so when we got after lunch, he wanted to go with me again. So again, I said to him, Landon, we're going to go on an adventure, because we got to find Grandma's car. Because I got so spun around in looking for the exit, I didn't remember where my car was. And we had so much fun. So now we're going to continue going on adventures together. And I am so excited because it makes you feel like you're young, and just life seems like to have a sense of humor. I think that's a big part of all of this, is that life can have a sense of humor when we allow it to be funny and we don't look at it like, oh my God, how come I didn't know where my car was? What is that about? Well, it's about a lot of things, and I'm sure I could go into all the stuff and judgments and all that stuff I could do. But what's the point? I mean, I got turned around. So anyway, life has an adventure, life has humor, and it's up to us to discover it and laugh at ourselves and just have some fun, because that's what it's about. All right, next slide. Let's see. All you need to know and observe in yourself is this. Whenever you feel superior or inferior to anyone, that's the ego in you. That's a very interesting quote. What do you think, Amnon? Are you distracted?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm still trying to
Fix me?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, though. All right, he's fixing my blue dress. Okay. So all you need to know and observe in yourself is this. Whenever you feel superior or inferior to anyone, that's the ego in you. So anytime you feel bigger than or less than, that is your ego talking. When you're connected, you wouldn't feel this way. There wouldn't be that disparity. So you want to pay attention and observe yourself as much as you can. See how you're showing up. See how you feel and how you can flip that on a dime. How you can take this up and down and go, okay, what will ground me? Where can I go? What can I tell myself? What can I get into perspective about where I am? And why am I comparing myself to someone? And why do I feel this great over somebody else or this bad over somebody else? And observing yourself it I guess it can be a real big challenge sometimes because we're so afraid of what we're going to see. And the thing is, it's never, ever, ever, ever as bad as we think it's going to be. Never. Never, 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 never. We're certain we can't ever be as bad as as we make ourselves be. We're so much better than that. We're so much kinder, and we have so much more going for us than we can possibly imagine. And when we observe ourselves, even little bits at a time, we're going to see our gifts. We're going to see the magic that we bring to this world. We're going to see and remember our heart and how we do things. You know, as a coach, very often, part of my job as a coach is to remind people of, you know, clearing away the moss, clearing away the yuck and saying, that's just yuck. This is who you are. And so you can't get that way unless you observe yourself. So observe all the good things you do. Observe how you interact with people. Observe how you, even when you, in a flash, you want to take advantage of somebody. You want to get the better of somebody, or you're glad when you do. Even in those moments when you catch yourself and you remind yourself, no, that's not the way I want to be. Or maybe you do. I had an interesting experience last week with myself. And it was Monday, it was Memorial Day, and I don't get very many days of just chilling out and being. I mean, every day is slam-packed full with either clients or writing or speaking or doing some, or shows and preparing. So I decided on Monday, last Monday, that I was just going to hang out, and I was going to go to my health club, and I was going to work out a couple of classes, and I was going to swim. My husband couldn't join me because he was working, but he was going to come later on in the day. And I do a lot of things for a lot of people on a regular basis, whether it's my family, whether it's friends, whether it's just whoever, anybody that asks. So I got in my car to go to drive to the club, and I passed the swimming area at my in my neighborhood, and I remembered there was a special event going on there, and I thought, oh my God, it was a fundraiser for a family who had lost a son, and I remembered this, and I thought, oh my God, I need to stay, I should blah, 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 blah. And I don't know how you feel about this, but I felt okay. Normally, I would have given up exactly what I was going to do, and I would have gone to the club, and I would have, you know, supported that. And I made the decision that I wasn't going to do that this time. This time, I was going to the club to do what I wanted to do, and give other people the time and the space to do what they wanted to do. So you don't have to carry the world on your shoulder. You don't have to do it all. There's plenty of people around here that could help carry the world. And to be perfectly honest with you, if 1 or 2 or 10 of us try to carry the world, we're never going to carry it right anyway. We have to spread that carrying. Each and every one of us have to pick up a little bit of something. And when we do, the world will be a better place. Because if somebody carries the world too much, that is not heart carrying, that is head carrying. And that is coming from the ego, not from the heart, because the heart would never do that. So I felt really okay with going on my way and enjoying my day and not feeling guilty that I didn't do this, because I do other things and I needed to replenish and refuel myself. Because if I didn't, I would be depleted and I wouldn't be a very happy person, and I would walk around angry a lot of the time, which I don't want to do. And you know what, my friends? I don't want to see you do that either. I want you to spread it. I want you to not to feel guilty. If you do something today for somebody, that's huge. Acknowledge it. Love yourself for it. Give yourself a break. We don't have to carry the world on our shoulders. We can share it, and it's up to somebody else sometimes to do that. And I knew there were going to be plenty of people at that club that were going to be there for this family. And in this particular moment, I needed to do something else. So, yeah. All right. So let me see. Anything on the chat that I need to look at? Let's see. No, I don't see anything in particular. But please feel free to call me, 919-518-9773, or computers, 2K voice on Skype from anywhere in the world, or you can connect with us on the chat. Just put your name in the little box or the little line under the box. You can put your nickname, whatever you like, and you can take part in the conversation and enjoy all of the friends that are out on the chat. Okay? All right. Next. Find out if you're still human. Observe yourself from another planet. I thought that was really cute. Sometimes we have a difficult time separating things out or seeing ourselves clearly. You know, we sometimes we come to the surface with an ego. You know, we talked about that a little bit. Here's another way of talking about an ego. We don't want to give ourselves credit. You know, it's so much easier sometimes for people to find fault with themselves and not to see their beauty and their gifts, and at the same time not to be able to see when they're not being beautiful and not being loving and kind, and when they are angry and all that kind of stuff. So sometimes it's really good to be a fly on a wall, and with no attachment, you know, no like being inside your body, but outside your body, and take a look and say, how am I being here? How am I showing up here? And we can do that. And and honestly, more people should do that. Flying on walls, looking at ourselves, saying, that ain't working, tweaking it a little bit, getting back in our body, doing what we want to do, and then again when we have to, become a fly on the wall again. And it's perfectly okay. You know, the other day, I often say, you know, we're humans having a spiritual experience, and that we're spiritual beings having a human experience. We're also spiritual beings having a spiritual experience. The closer we get to our heart, the closer we get to clarity and enlightenment and all of these things, we are a spiritual being having a spiritual experience. That's all we're having. I mean, we're not having any other experience but that. And so I find it very interesting, and we're here to learn. And that's what spirituality is about. Spirituality is not about knowing it all. That's not spirituality. Spirituality is earning it, is learning it. It's finding perspective. It's experimenting. It's doing things like off the wall. It's trying different things. It's coming here for 4 years now, because I think our anniversary is like the beginning of July, and wearing a blue dress and forgetting. And then just like rolling with it and having a colleague who's going to sit there and try to figure out what to do so I don't look like I'm ahead, on nobody. I mean, this is what we're here to learn. There is nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with making lessons happen. It's really what is intended for wherever we're meant to go after this. We got to get there through our learning and through sharing. So find out if you're still human. Observe yourself from another planet. Find out how you feel. You know, it's a way of feeling grounded. It's a way of getting connected to yourself. It's a way of checking in and saying, okay, am I going in the right direction? Am I accomplishing some things that I want to accomplish? How am I being? Am I taking the time for the things that matter most? Am I being I don't know what to call it. I don't want to call it selfish. I don't want to call it self-centered. Am I being self-loving on Monday by taking myself to do some healthy things for myself instead of, giving to somebody else again? Maybe next week I'll be able to give to these people and somebody else won't. But that's what makes me human, is that I am feeling and I'm connected to this planet. So find out if you're still human. Observe yourself from another planet and be a fly on your wall and see what you see. And sometimes I don't know, maybe sometimes we have to be a fly on somebody else's wall. Right? Anything going on in the chat?
I'm not.
Oh, you're not looking.
Hopefully, Chris
Okay.
does.
Okay, let's see. Just had a visual of Marilyn's head floating on the screen with no body. Oh, that would be interesting. Somebody wrote that. And then, so Chris says, I agree with this quote. Airports are great for one who has an interest in the body as text. Airports are treasure troves of information. Oh, yes, they are. I love airports. I know that's crazy. I don't want to be late and I don't want to be detained, but I don't mind like having a stop. I don't want 2 stops, but I don't mind a stop. I find it fascinating to watch people at airports. Time stands still in airports. So Chris, you're right. Airports are a fascinating place to be. Okay, let's go to the next quote. I love reading people. Talking about airports. I really enjoy watching, observing, and being able to figure out a person. The reason they wore that dress. The reason they smell the way they do. Rihanna. So I don't think it's being critical. I don't think it's being judgmental. I think it's just marvelous to observe people and their quirkiness, their sensitivity, how they handle themselves. I mean, it's like being in a reality movie, and it's really fascinating to watch how people carry themselves and what we can learn from each other, what I can learn about myself. You know, I think sometimes we look at people and we say, wow, I wouldn't wear that. I wouldn't do that. But, you know, I also think that we are, I said this to somebody the other day and I loved it. We're each other's chalkboard. We get to write things and erase them. We get to experiment with each other. I think part of the reason we're all here together is so that I can observe you, you can observe me. Maybe sometimes you're going to be critical of me. Maybe sometimes I'm going to be critical of you. Hopefully I'm going to do it in a way that I'm going to learn and you're going to learn, and we're not going to be hateful and hurtful to each other. Maybe I look at you and I say, I learn more about myself because of how you look or how you don't look. And as long as I do it in as nice a way as possible, I think it's a natural thing to observe people, their bodies. I love looking at women's bodies, and I'm not, you know, I'm married and I have a husband, but I love the female body. I think the female body is really cool. I've never said that out loud, and I've never said it on TV before, but I think the women's bodies are beautiful, and I don't know. You do, huh?
Yeah.
Do you like men's bodies? I like men's bodies too.
I never thought about that.
Would you think about it? Would you think about it today, from today to next week? If I asked you again, did you observe men's bodies and what you thought? What would you do that?
I would do it, but I mean, where would I go to look at men's body? I mean, it's
Well, anybody,
it's something that.
First of all, it's something that I sort of like grew up with.
what men's bodies?
Yeah, being at the Y when you're a kid, I mean, everybody's naked.
But
It's-
and did you
it's-
look,
it's-
or did you like close your
No,
eyes not
it
to
was.
look?
I mean, in the first few days, you're kind of, you know, you're 6 years old,
In
and
the
you feel
Y?
kind of, yeah, at the Y, man.
Oh, the way. Okay, like the
I mean,
Y,
at-
like
and
the
in- and in-
YMCA. If
at
you
the
don't know what
YMCA.
okay, if you don't know what the YMCA is, it's like a men's. Well, it used to be only.
Who
for
doesn't
men.
know what the YMCA
It could
is?
be anywhere in the world.
Yeah,
remember?
they're all over the world.
Oh,
I
they
mean, I'm
are?
talking about the Y in Jerusalem.
Oh, okay. So okay, go ahead.
And there, you would even swim naked. You couldn't put a bathing suit on to swim.
Oh.
Of course, it was just men
Oh.
by themselves and women. Now, women did put.
Oh, they did.
But the thing is, you grow up and you realize that there's nothing to it. I mean, it's fine.
So do you make comments to yourself about people's bodies?
No.
You don't. You don't say to yourself that he has a big butt or she has a big butt
No,
or they have a small
Definitely
waist.
not.
You don't.
No.
Would,
I mean,
would
sometimes you look at somebody and they're really big and fat, and you say, "What a shame."
Right.
But positive things,
do
I
you
don't
think if we did and made each other's bodies more common as opposed to unique, that it might change
What do you
something
mean
in the
common?
world? In other words, if we like just took it for granted, like we just thought to ourselves,
That-
oh, they have a nice butt, or oh, they have a big butt, or it wouldn't be such a thing. That it wouldn't be such a big deal.
I mean, do you think in the countries like in Africa and South America, wherever the women walk naked or topless, that the men go, "Ooh, nice boobs"?
No,
I don't think so.
that's because they take it. It's just out there.
Yeah.
Well, that's the point. If it was more out there, but, you know, when I went to the Scandinavian countries many years ago, you know, you go down the red light district, right? It's like no big deal. You're in,
Right.
you know, you're there, and the women in the windows, and they're, you know, calling people in, and people go in, and they're, you know, half dressed, half not dressed. They smoke pot. They did all kinds of things, and I'll never forget being in a taxi cab with this gentleman, and we were talking. I was from America, he was from there. Excuse me, and we were talking about how often, you know, we were having children that were molested and all kinds of stuff, and he said, we don't have that here.
Right.
Because, you know, things are so much more open, and we don't, you know, what you resist persists. So if you resist showing these things, you know, then it persists. Then the urge persists. So, I mean,
Yeah.
if we make things wrong, then it becomes more of a problem. So I'm saying I think I'm going to pay more attention to bodies in particular, period.
What do you mean?
I'm sitting here and I'm growing in the moment. I mean, I'm getting taller, right? No, I'm growing. I'm thinking about people's bodies, and I'm going to pay more attention, give myself more permission, and not make it such a deal. Like, not that I'm critical, but I think I'm going to give myself permission to observe more people's bodies freely, as opposed to doing it not freely. Like it's a unique thing. I'm going to make it like not a unique thing. Because I really, and I've never said it, I really love looking at I love women's bodies. And I'm going to start to really say it. Well, I just did. I love women's bodies, and I like men's bodies. And I think, I love seeing clothes on people. I love seeing how people accentuate their bodies in different ways, creatively, artistically. I love watching people, and I love women with beautiful legs. Of course, I don't have beautiful legs, so I really love beautiful legs. You know, so I'm saying I think we should love our bodies more in general, and I'm going to pay more attention to people's bodies. Period. All right, call me 919-518-9773, or check in with me on Skype at Computers 2K Voice, or you can connect with us on Skype on our chat, and we'd love to hear from you. So, got something to say? If you're sitting there and you're saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe she's doing this," or "Oh my God, I can't believe she said that," or "I have something I want to say that I've never said before." Remember, this is a license to say anything you want. So come on, share with me whatever you like, because I'd love to hear from you. Okay? All right, here we go. Is there anything out here that I should look at? I don't know. It's a lot of stuff going on. Okay, next quote. I love documentaries. I like observing real people. So I've always loved memoirs and, autobiographies, because I love hearing about people's stories. I love observing how people have interacted. And I think we're living in the biggest documentary there is. So I love documentaries for that reason. I think we're very interesting, and I think we should pay more attention to each other and not shy away and criticize our criticism, or criticize our judgmental. Just hear it, and we're either going to learn something from it, or we're going over the top, and we want to correct it, and we can do that. So I want you to pay attention. I want you to observe each other. And if you hear yourself saying things like, "Oh my God, this," or "Oh my this," or "Look at this," at least you're observing. You're waking up. Hear it. Because after a while, once you say that enough, you're not going to want to keep on saying it. It kind of goes away. And the same thing with yourself. You know, I have I have big legs, or I have big arms, or my fingers are this, my body is this. Observe yourself saying it. Put yourself into the present moment. Hear yourself saying it. And the best way to maybe stop saying it is, first of all, to know you're saying it, and to change what you're saying and focus on some of the good things. I mean, focus on and accept some of the things that you don't like. It makes a big difference. All right. Next slide, please. Okay. So this is like a station break. I have a survey that I would love for you to do, if you will. It would be really great to hear from you. We only have like 4 questions on there. It's really important because we'd love to know what you would love to hear on the show. We have all kinds of guests always. And then from time to time, I like coming here and just talking with you, and would welcome you to call in. Oh, there's somebody. I don't know. Are they calling in to us? So this is a very small survey. It's just wanting to know who you are and where you live a little bit, so we have an idea of where our audience is and what ideas you have. We've put it out a couple of times, and we're getting some extraordinary comments back about some of the things that people are interested in hearing about. So I'd love to hear from you whenever you can. You can go to Facebook, and you can see it on Marilyn Shannon's page on Facebook. You can see it on the Breaking Free Show on Facebook, and you can see it on where else? Okay, and I'm going to put up the actual address. So Amnon, can you put up the next slide? Here is the actual address, which is a bit.ly. So if you go to this address, you can take the survey, and if you do, and I'm very grateful that you will, if you do, I will offer you a half-hour complimentary coaching session for anybody and everybody that fills out the little questionnaire. So it's only 4 questions. It'll take you no time. Love to hear from you. Okay, next slide. Slide, Clyde. Okay. Be curious, not judgmental. This is really important. Walt Whitman. Be curious, not judgmental. So don't make your observations wrong. That's when we get into trouble. Be curious about things. Like, why does somebody dress that way? As opposed to, why are they dressed that way? Like, why would somebody wear that? As opposed to, why are they wearing that? Like, we don't know what we have to imagine what it must be like to walk in somebody else's shoes, or how they see themselves. And we can be curious, we can be loving, we can be appreciative, we can be sympathetic, empathetic. But when we start making it wrong, and we start to say, bad things about people, then that's when we run into trouble. So be curious. It's okay. Be curious about why somebody does a certain thing. And you can ask them. That's also very important, is ask somebody, what made you do that? And if you ask somebody without judgment, you're going to get a good answer. And you're not going to be afraid to ask the questions. That's really important. So be curious, not judgmental. Next quote. So I thought this was really pretty good. This is a teenager post. Welcome to our society. You'll be judged on what you wear, your taste in music, what you look like, and how you act. Enjoy your stay. Now, who would want to be in that kind of a world? I mean, seriously. Who wants to feel that way? That everything you do and everything you see and you sense and you experience is going to be judged. Why would you want to be anywhere or with anyone that would do that? So you wouldn't. I mean, so number one, don't do it to yourself. Why would you want to even be with you if everything you do, you're judging? in a negative way. You know, I think that there is a way of looking at judging, like making a choice. Sometimes you have to make a judgment call because you want to make a choice about something, and you have to judge whether or not you want to do this or you want to do that. You have to kind of like put yourself, it's like going like the old kind of thing. I don't know if you ever did this before, but going in, it used to be in restaurants where there was a column A and a column B, and you got to choose from column A the soup, and then the entree from column B or column A, or you got two choices from here. So you had to make like a judgment, you have to judge, what do I want? What do I want to taste today? And you have to discriminate between certain things. But when you are doing things in anger and in your ego to put somebody down so you can feel good, it never works. You can't feel good enough when you judge somebody in a bad way. When you, and I don't know if there's another word, but when you are discriminating between one thing and another, that's okay. When you are curious about somebody, that's okay. When you make a choice, that's more than okay, because the world, we have to make a lot of choices. The world's full of choices. But when you judge, and when you judge yourself after you make the choice, and you criticize after you do that, oh my God, you will be gun shy. You will never want to do it. And you will be your worst enemy. Worst enemy. So that quote is so important when it says, welcome to your world. Listen to this. Welcome to my world. Welcome to your world. You'll begin to judge yourself on everything that you wear, everything that you taste in music, and every way that you look and how you act. Are you going to enjoy your stay? Enjoy being in your body when you do that. Never, never in a million years. So here, be nice to yourself. Don't judge yourself. If you don't like how you look, change it. If you like a piece of music and nobody else likes it, hooray for you. Hooray for you. If you want to act a certain way and you want to have an adventure in a parking garage, hooray for you. Have fun. Don't worry about what other people think and say. And don't judge yourself pre-thinking what somebody else might say or do or think about you. Who cares? Live your life. The more people that do that, the better it'll be. What? Oh, we have a... Okay. Marilyn, don't forget you'll be judged for who you hang out with and love too. Oh yeah. A lot of times you will. And sometimes it's out of jealousy. It's out because people don't understand why people are attracted to people, but we're all doing it. Sometimes, we're all attracted to people for different reasons, and because we have lessons to learn, and because we're a spiritual being having a spiritual experience, we're here to have those relationships. So surrender the judgment, surrender all that stuff, and do our best to make it all okay. Makes a big difference. Oh, Cindy says, right on, Marilyn. Okay, about what, Cindy? Cindy's on the chat, and she said, right on, Marilyn. So I'd love to hear what she's right on Marilyning about. So tell me, because I've just said a bunch of things. Okay, next quote. Go ahead, judge me. Just remember to be perfect the rest of your life. Right? So don't judge, because that means that means you're perfect. And so there's no room for judgment. There's room for love. There's room for compassion. There's room for understanding. There's room for, oh well, so what, now what? And including yourself. Stop judging. That's it. It's as plain as day. Let's stop hurting each other and finding fault with each other in that way.
Isn't that the thing about cast the first stone?
Yeah,
There's something.
glass house or something?
No. Something, let him cast the first stone.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
It's,
Well, if you know it, that's a reason for you to call in. Come on.
Yeah, I'm trying
Okay,
to
what
think.
is
There's
it?
a saying something about let him cast the first stone.
And what happens?
Like it's like anybody who thinks that they are.
Room
I don't know how it
Right.
goes. I don't know.
Right. Well, a lot of people use judgment so they don't have to look at themselves. But it'd be better to look at yourself than to use judgment in its place. right?
Yep.
So, and I'll tell you something. Who you are and how you are feeling on the inside is how what you portray and what you're looking through. That's your filters, what you're looking through to the outside world. So if you feel a certain way, that is the only thing you're going to see in everybody else. So if you pick on your body, you're going to pick on other people's bodies. If you only see the negative in your body, you're going to see the negative in other people's bodies, and then the really good bodies you're going to make fun of, or make fun of the person. You know, when I was a little girl, my mother always had a great body, always. She always watched what she ate, and I might have said this before on the show, so forgive me if you've heard this. But she used to eat like half of a sandwich, or a whole sandwich on one slice of bread. And I used to like look at her and go, why is she doing that? She was thin. And I used to get pissed off at my mother for doing that because I wasn't thin. And I had to struggle to stay where I was. And all she had to do was eat half of a sandwich. And I was like, why doesn't she just eat the whole thing? And now that I'm older and I can understand more and I'm like more better in my head, I understand that that's how she was kept her weight down and how she looked as good as she did. And let me tell you something. I admire her for it now because she's like 90 years old and she looks great. So, yeah, I'm not knocking on the table, knocking on wood. Yeah, she looks great. And I admire her for, taking good care of herself. And now I'm not jealous of her anymore. And she's still thinner than me. So, but I have my good things. Well, that's the point. That's what I've observed with myself in the last, I don't know how many years. Is I know I have my things and then I have my things. Now my things are my heavier legs and those things, but then I have my things. I'm a good person. I'm creative. I'm a great grandmother. I'm a really good mother. I have my things that I don't love, but then I have the things that I really do love. And so the things that I really do love in myself have become far more powerful and important and more noticeable than the things that I don't love. And I am far less judgmental than I ever used to be before. Next one. It's the people that know you the least that judge you the most. Because if they knew you, they'd know why you do certain things, or why you respond certain ways, or where you come from, and what your history is. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Don't base your life on people judging or even the thought of judging, because who cares? It doesn't matter. Next one. What would you do if you weren't afraid? So if you weren't afraid of being judged by yourself. Oh, did I miss one? Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. One of the this one? Oh, no. Oh, I skipped two. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you got a couple of good ones coming. I like that other one. All right. You know my name, not my story. You've heard what I've done, not what I've been through. Keep this in mind when you look at people. You know my name. You may not even know their name, but you don't know their story. You don't know what it took for them to wake up that day. You don't know what it took for them to wear that thing that may not look so great on them, that maybe should be on somebody who's 10 pounds lighter or 20 pounds lighter. But you don't know what it took for them to feel inspired to wear something that maybe they never wore before, or they feel so good about themselves. You don't know what the struggles people have had. So keep that in mind. And the more people that we stop judging, the better the world's going to be, and the less, it's just a circle. Stop judging yourself and give yourself credit, because you know your story. You know your name. You know your story. You know what you've done, and you know what you've been through. And if you really give yourself some credit, then you'll know how hard it might have been for you to do something. Instead of giving yourself being judgmental, give yourself accolades. Love yourself, because you know your name, you know your story, you know what you've done, and you know what you've been through. So give yourself credit, acknowledge yourself, And if you do something and you're branching out and trying something new, glory be. Have fun with it. Okay? Do I have anything on the chat? Can you see? Okay. Next one. One of the hardest parts of life is deciding whether to walk away or try harder. I think this is really great. Sometimes we don't know when to give something up. And I don't know either. Sometimes it's unclear. But whatever choice you make is the best choice in the moment, and make a decision. Sometimes we don't have all the information. We just have to do something. We either have to walk away or we just have to try harder. And if you find that you've tried, and you're tired of trying, and something else in the world is happening around you and your family, and it's time to walk away, it's time to walk away. Sometimes it's not time to walk away yet. Sometimes that's not the message. Listen for the message. How long have you tried? Have you gotten any further along in your trying? If you've gotten some good things happening while you're trying, don't walk away. But if things are falling apart around you, maybe it's time. Only you can decide that. It is a hard decision, believe me. Sometimes I look at certain things and I say, I should go. But I didn't. Or maybe I say to myself, I should have done it already. That's not the right thing to say either. Because if I could have, I would have. If you could have known different, you would have done differently. So this is a hard thing. Some things are hard decisions to make. The only thing you do is the best that you can. Use the information that you have, the messages that are around you, and walk away. And sometimes you walk away just to come back again. And you realize you walked away too soon. Sometimes you realize you didn't try hard enough. And you had a little bit more energy. It's like working out. Sometimes you got to go to that your edge, and you haven't gone to your edge yet. So it's a hard decision, but sometimes you just have to make a decision. And you make the decision to walk away or try harder. That's two decisions. Period. All right, next one. Oh, okay, there's the thing? Okay. Oh, the long one. Let me see. Oh, my God. I live in a complex of over 200 apartments. People from all walks of life live here. Whenever I hear anyone judging others that live here, I say, behind every door, there is a story. Absolutely. There's always a reason someone looks or acts or appears to be a certain way. Knowing that there is a story is enough not to judge. Understanding that everyone has a story is enough to understand. Absolutely. There's a story behind everything. There's a story why somebody puts their head down. There's a story why somebody doesn't make eye contact. There's a story why somebody doesn't smile at you. There is a story behind why somebody smiles all the time. There's a story why somebody is nasty. There's a story why somebody drives a beat-up car. There's a story for everything. There's a story why somebody has an edge. There's a story why somebody doesn't go out for lunch with you. There's a story why that man that you want to date hasn't asked you out yet, and he keeps trying, but he doesn't do it. There's a story why you have a woman in your life that you haven't even asked out yet. There's a story why you haven't expressed your love to somebody, why you haven't received it, why you haven't accepted it. There's a story behind everything. Keep that in mind. All right. Good. Thank you, Suziani. What would you do if you weren't afraid? I like this one. It's very simple, but it says so much. What would you do if you weren't afraid? What would you do today if you could do something different and there wasn't some little thing or something that you thought was big holding you back? What would you do? What would you experience? What would you explore? What mountain would you jump off of? Or who would you go visit if you weren't afraid? Who would you call on the phone? Who would you reconnect with if you weren't afraid? What would you try differently if you weren't afraid? Would you have called here today if you weren't afraid? Would you have Skyped with us today if you weren't afraid? What would you do? I'm not. Is there something you would do if you weren't afraid?
It's a lot of things. I can't
Can you think of anything that you're afraid of that's keeping you back?
Yeah, go to the beach for a week.
Or what's keeping you from doing that?
What's happening here?
Work.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And
I'm
you're
afraid something will happen,
and yet you'll miss it.
and I'm not going to be here to solve it.
But that, mhm. But you, and it could, and you could be
I
here
know.
and not have something happen. But does that
Right.
mean that you would never go away anywhere ever?
I mean, I go for a day.
But you
For
would
the
love to
day.
go away for.
You know, to get, I mean, you know, people say, I don't know, why don't you ever go? Why don't you guys ever go on a cruise? No, I can't.
You couldn't. There's nobody you could leave
No,
that could help you,
no.
and you can't.
I mean, you can always leave people that could help you, but if it's something serious enough, you have to talk with the customers. You know,
Does that happen every week?
sometimes it doesn't have for a whole month. Sometimes it happens a few times a week,
Well,
but it's getting solved right away, and things keep rolling.
so let's say. Well, I mean, I could analyze this from today to tomorrow, but
Yeah.
you know, I think that sometimes you just have to go with the flow and give it and take a chance.
No, I'm going with the flow, and I'm staying here, which is fine. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't really
You
want
don't miss
to
anything?
go.
You
No,
don't
I
really
don't
want
think
to.
I do. I mean, I love staying around the house and being here and do things. But you're asking me, what would I do if I wasn't afraid? This is one of the things that I'm afraid to leave.
But you would. But if you weren't afraid, you would go.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. Think about it. So you're going to observe men's bodies, and you're going to think about fear this week, and hopefully, with next week we might mention it. And I don't know what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of, believe it or not, sometimes I'm afraid of putting myself out there more.
I'm afraid I'm not going to be afraid anymore, and I'm going to go and grab a man's body.
Oh my God!
See, that's not
I'm afraid of that too. That would be scary. Okay. So what would you do if you weren't afraid? Amnon gave a story that he is so tied to his job and about something happening with somebody's internet or email going kaflooey, that he just can't go away. And I believe that maybe there's an option here for him that he hasn't taken yet, because a week, a year, or a week in 30 years. I mean, sometimes you're here and you can't prevent it from happening anyway.
right.
So, you know, I think he could try going away for a couple of days and maybe not a week. But anyway, take a look at your life. What would you do if you weren't afraid? And see if you could take a step with us. Today I acknowledge a few things that I have never acknowledged before. Acknowledge it. I said I'm scared to put myself out there more. I am. I mean, I have things I want to do, and I think, oh my God, what happens if they don't do this? And what happens if this doesn't work? But that won't stop me, but it has slowed me down, but eventually it won't stop me. So what would you do if you weren't afraid? Could you put up that next slide? Excuse me. Would you write a book if you weren't afraid? Would you share your story? I think more and more of our stories have to get out there. More and more of our everyday lives need to come out there. So would you share your story if you weren't afraid? And I would encourage you to do that. And if you want to use this venue as a stepping stone to do that, I would love to hear from you, because your story matters so much. It's made you who you are, and it is making the rest of us who we are, hearing your stories. The reason the show has been on for so long is because of people sharing their stories and what they do on a regular basis and how they've worked through it. What they've learned from it, we all can pick up some kind of something that makes a difference. So who are you and how you express yourself is really important. Doesn't matter about the grammar, somebody always can do that. But your story is unique and is important. I have one more slide to put up, and that is going to be about your things, your art, your business, if you have something that you're proud of and that you love and that you want to share it with me, I would love, 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 love to be able to put that on our website under Marilyn's favorite things. We have a slide you have that last slide? Yeah, Marilyn's favorite things. I want to slam it full of things that I love, people that I love and respect. So if you are listening to the show, I love you. You're watching this show, I respect you. You're listening to the things that I've been saying, thank God. Share with me your product, your service, your book. I would love to put it up on my website and share it with the world. Please do that. You can write me at MarilynShannon.com, and we'll do that. And also, don't forget about my survey, our survey. We'd love for you to take part in that as well. And if you do, I will give you a half-hour complimentary coaching. So you can go to Facebook, Marilyn Shannon there. You can go to the Breaking Free Show. You can go to Nissan Communications, and we'll put it up on the show notes as well. And if you don't have it and you want it, write me again at MarilynShannon.com, and I will send it to you. And with that, it's the end of the day, the end of the show, right? Time flies, right?
Yeah,
Is it that? Oh, yeah, man, it's done. I love talking to you. So with that, have a wonderful, wonderful week, and do something that you were afraid of before, and then let me know what that is. With that, mwah, everybody, have a great day, and enjoy yourself. Bye.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCBVI members, The Tanya Love Show, Your Healthy Pet with Gisela DiCarlo. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.